There are three critical issues that have been affecting the constituency of northeastern St. Elizabeth since Hurricane Melissa. The first issue has been adequately ventilated by my previous colleagues, and that has to do with the issue of housing. Now, it is very clear that many persons have still not been assessed for housing grant or housing assistance in the constituency of northeastern St. Elizabeth. We see it every single time we go to the supermarket, we go on the road, people approach us asking for housing assistance or building material because they didn't even know that the government had set a deadline by which they should apply for assistance. Those who have actually been assessed, many of those who have been assessed have actually not received a benefit. They haven't received anything from Housing Trust. They haven't received anything from Trans-Jamaican Highway, which has assisted some persons through that program. They haven't received any form of governmental assistance whatsoever. And those who have received assistance will tell you that it is simply woefully inadequate. What they're getting, the little mickle, can't put on back a roof. It can't fix up back the window, it can't put on back a door because it's just not sufficient. And so I always pause and hesitate when I attend conferences of this nature, because I understand the role of the spin doctors and the PR pros who will make it appear as though here goes the People's National Party once again asking for more money. And so I want to make it clear that we're not asking for more money for ourselves. We're asking for additional resources through whatever avenue the government deems best suited for those persons to get assistance. And we ask on behalf of the people like the elderly lady I saw a few days ago in Pepper, whose house blew down and she have a catch with our neighbors. I ask on behalf of the people in Balaclava, in Silo, in Thornton, who get a little bit of assistance, but them still out a door because they can't, it's just not sufficient to put on back or to build back sufficiently. And so we come here this morning once again to really ask the government as a matter of urgency to, one, revisit that application period that was stipulated, extend the time period for persons to apply for housing assistance, building material assistance, and also to increase the funding so that those persons who are affected can actually get a meaningful contribution and not just some token contribution that does nothing and doesn't even move the needle. Now, as it relates to the second issue plaguing the constituency of northeastern St. Elizabeth, it has captured national attention in recent days, and that is the flooding in Santa Cruz. But the truth is, this is a recurring issue. It is a long-standing issue. The town of Santa Cruz has been flooded from before I was even born. And it continues to be flooded now, but it has increased in frequency and the devastation has now quadrupled since Hurricane Melissa. The harsh reality is that the drainage network is insufficient. It is antiquated. It has not kept a pace with the massive development that has happened in the town of Santa Cruz. And so what do we get? We get the town being flooded every single time it rains. It floods because we don't have adequate drainage. And so the town of Santa Cruz is now the drain. Back Street, or as my councillor Donovan Pagan would remind me, Sydney Pagan Drive, is now the drain because there isn't a sufficient drainage system to channel the water from the hills of Santa Cruz, which constantly inundate the town, mashing up the roadwork. And so it is now causing a recurring expenditure, a recurrent expense on the national purse for the government to constantly be fixing back the road. Instead of wasting taxpayers' resources, I'm using this opportunity to call on the government to put in place a meaningful plan once and for all that will solve the drainage and flooding issue that plagues Santa Cruz. I'm calling on the government to establish as a matter of urgency a multi-agency task force which comprises representatives from the parish council, national works agencies, the political representatives such as the councillor, the member of parliament, community members. And I ask for these inclusion because community members, the local representatives, have intimate knowledge, local knowledge, almost indigenous knowledge of where you can find some of the old drains where you used to channel the water. And so it is important to have a broad-based consultation, not just where the NWA comes in and fix one little drain in a Santa Cruz and then rainfall and we flood out again. We need a multi-agency task force to be set up with a view to presenting a viable solution to fix the issue of flooding in the town of Santa Cruz once and for all. Balaclava was flooded a few days ago as well. There isn't sufficient resources. I've reached out to the National Works Agency. They tell me they don't have the money to do drain cleaning at the moment. We need a routine maintenance of the drains in Balaclava so that the town don't flood whenever rain falls. As it relates, finally, to the issue of roads, and I do not propose to speak very long on this, but my constituents would not forgive me, especially the people in Good Hope, in Park Mountain, Bogue, where the road is split. They would not forgive me if I do not appeal to the government to conduct emergency road repair as it relates to our constituency, but especially the constituencies, because I don't wish to be selfish. The constituencies which have been devastated by Hurricane Melissa, we have seen deadly roadways emerging after the hurricane. And so a special plan needs to be in place to address these issues. It can't just be done through routine patching. There has to be a structured and comprehensive approach to fixing the craters that exist, the bridges that are tumbling down, the roads that are collapsing. We need urgent assistance. And so I use this opportunity not to criticize, not to complain, but to say that this is really a cry for help. This is a cry for help for the people of northeastern St. Elizabeth who have suffered devastation following Hurricane Melissa. It is a cry for help, for urgent housing assistance and building material to be provided to those who are still without a roof 6 months after the hurricane. It is a cry for help for the business community, the residents of Santa Cruz who constantly are flooded with very little rainfall, which disrupts and brings business and economic activities to a halt. It is a cry for help for those along the Lacovia to Burn Savannah main road who are fearful of being washed away like how the water washed away the bike a few days ago. This is a cry for urgent assistance and intervention so that people can actually build back better. Thank you.